Thank you. I too want to rise to support the Labour Party's amendment and indeed the other associated amendments that have been attached to it. And we have a number of amendments ourselves in the rural independence, and I want to thank Brina O'Donnell and our office for assisting, and they were quite detailed and quite rushed because we didn't have a lot of time. But I do utterly believe that we don't have enough time to discuss this. We're hardly going to reach many of the amendments by the looks of things. Probably only this Kate count, and if we go to half 4, we won't even have a vote on this amendment, so we have to be cognizant of that. But look, someone said it's closing the door when the horses bolted. I said the horses are already in Cheltenham. I said that this morning, or not further away, because Deputy Kelly will be aware, and other group leaders and party leaders, ever since we started this pandemic, at meetings with the Taoiseach, when we used to have them, weekly briefings or fortnightly briefings. We hadn't one now since late November, just for the record, from the Taoiseach or NEFIT or anybody else. And they talk about collaboration and keeping people informed. I always wanted quarantine at the airports and restricted on travel. For the simple reason, not that I'm a killjoy, I don't want people travelling, or not that I am, want to lock them up and throw away the keys. I'm not at all. But the Irish people have made heroic efforts. And I want to sympathise with anyone who has lost a loved one and not being able to attend their funerals, have a proper funeral, and everything else. And I want to salute everybody involved trying to beat the virus. But we were what I said at the time was like drawing water. And I remember it as a bucket, drawing water from a well with a bucket. And if there were holes in the bucket, you'd never fill your churn. Simple as that. Because people were coming in and out, and we were shocked to find the figures. I didn't, in my wildest dreams, think that kind of figures were coming in, but they are coming in and have been coming in, and we wanted to be the poster boys of Europe. Every answer I got from the previous Taoiseach and this Taoiseach was, oh, we're European, we're in this together with Europe. But Poland and Hungary were able to seal their borders, and other places within Europe, and have various degrees of success, so we couldn't do it. We're the good boys, the white boys, and in Europe, and we want to be the best Europeans. We were best in the class at that stage, they were telling us. Then we went to worse in the class, and I don't know where we're now, we're not in the class at all. But we certainly are not getting fair crack at the whip when it comes to vaccines from Europe, because when you look across the pond with our nearest neighbours and what vaccines they have acquired outside of the EU, it's just staggering. 13 million or something, 12.6 million. And we're here, pat us on the back that we have 350,000 people vaccinated. And I said this here, and the minister's here again, I'm tired of asking, he won't answer, about the flu vaccine, which was rolled out late last summer. I've asked them in November, and I've asked them 3 weeks ago and again this morning to tell me what I'm being told, misinformation from good sources. I don't believe I am, that only 1.4 of the 2 million vaccines can be accounted for. So how then was the HSE, Department of Health, whoever, going to roll out this, and now we're so small in a figure of 10 million vaccines? Not a hope in hell. So children with a jigsaw, if they couldn't make the jigsaw with 2 million, how are they going to make it with 10 million pieces? And I have horrific cases of people who were so buyed up. I was talking to many of them last Monday week in Tipperary, over 85 now, mind, and they contacted me. They were going for their jab on Wednesday to care to doctors' centre, and indeed Carrick or whatever. And thanks be to God, one lot of the doctors' surgeries got the vaccines, and they all got their vaccines. The other doctor in the town got no vaccines, and 116 odd injections. They never arrived. Look, logistics can go wrong with anyone, but there's no information since that's 8 days ago now as to where they are, where they went, why they didn't come, and when will they come. And it's awful. And a son of 101, she's in her 101st year, wonderful woman. She was a businesswoman all her life. She was a sprightly woman, was one of the people going in for the vaccine, and she was turned down. Then another very sick couple in that age group, as I said, and I won't mention the name, but they're just desperate, waiting the anticipation and expectation and the delight of going for it and then not getting it. And now we can't get information to tell them we'll have it next Wednesday or whenever. What is so dysfunctional? At the same in Carrick and Shure, with a doctor's practice, same thing happened. Most of them got their vaccine, the doctors, but one practice in South Kilkenny and South Tipperary didn't get it. People again told sorry and left down. So why is it so dysfunctional? Why should it be so dysfunctional? I mean, but as I said, I wasn't happy with the way they've administered the flu vaccine for years, I'm told. This has been going on, that accountability is negligent. So how are the people supposed to have hope? The hope we so badly need this beautiful spring day. We're looking out and seeing it, and how are we going to get the people to follow us? I believe in the Nat, the Curl, the Kale, the Goni. But look, the government have made a hames of it. I've said this morning again, that this Taoiseach and this minister, you minister, have dropped the ball spectacularly since you took over the baton. You were so mad to get into government you couldn't wait. At least there was a coordination and there was some kind of a system in place with the previous Taoiseach and indeed the previous Minister of Health, and we were always, as opposition groups, informed. Now we're shut out of it. You know best, we know nothing. You don't want our advice. You just want to come in here and cannon fodder and vote for it. I have huge issues about voting for this legislation because it's inadequate, it's quite inept, and it's 10 months too late. And also then, is it workable? And you tell us all, and Minister Ryan was chatting today again about it, that the Gardaí are doing checks on homes already. The Gardaí are frustrated too. They're getting reams of documentation, and that's at inspector level and superintendent level and down to sergeant in charge. But the guards on the ground, and I said, out them trying to do their job. And they're frustrated too. And they have families too. And they haven't got a vaccine either, or they're very far down the list of it. So they have to deal with all kinds of situations during any 24-hour or any 12-hour stint. So look, everybody is utter confusion, and I only hope and believe that the vaccine will do what it's meant to do, and people won't get COVID. But that's not what the insurance I got from Tony Houlihan or Taoiseach Martin. But I'm just saying that this outfit is not fit for purpose. Former Taoiseach, both of them, that Taoiseach Ahern and Taoiseach Cowan told me in this house privately that they were just going to disband the HSE. We all know it's just not fit for purpose. We see the problems in my constituency in Limerick, one of the worst places for beds this week for trolleys. We see the problems with the mental health service. I had a woman on to me recently about a man looking for mental health therapy consultation privately. Wait 12 months for it, to go privately. Someone said it's an epidemic going to start. It's here. We're in the middle of it. People are just locked away, can't grieve, can't support each other, can't visit houses, can't go anywhere. And we see this tomfoolery in at the airports. That's what I call it. That people can waltz in and waltz out and boast about it. And they might fill a form sometimes, and then they might get a call or they won't. We were told at Christmas that it crashed after Christmas, the whole tracing system, because of pressure. But there's no intent to seal the people from coming from abroad, and there must be. So there's huge pitfalls within the legislation, and I believe it could be open to a legal challenge too. The Minister hasn't given us any timeline. I know we're debating it today, and it's been guillotined, which is a shame, because it means that many of the amendments that I and other groups, and our group, have put down won't be reached. There's no timeline. A few times I can see of implementation. When is it? I know it's in the Senate on Monday, but when it'll be signed into law, and and you've said when we'll make the preparations then to enact it. No date. Just send it up the park to be signed, and like other pieces of legislation that aren't implemented, that were passed. And how are we going to know what the different aspects of it are? And have they the hotels procured? Have they the security staff or whoever to look after them? Nothing like that is any detail at all. It's a wing and a prayer, and a kind of a wish list, and the people will be good. They have been good, and they've been very good, but that good only carries so far, and they're fairly fatigued now and fairly tired. And so are the nursing and nursing staff. And to think then that we'll give them a round of applause here in the chamber rather than pay them a meagre amount of thing. I also have a question to ask, and it's in relation to the vaccination. How it's so more expensive to have them carried out here than it is across the water? I think £14, if I'm right, for the two vaccinations, and 60 here for one. That's what I'm told. Why is this? Is this rip-off Ireland? Why is it so expensive? Why can't we run this out in community halls? Run this out with the retired nurses? Run this out with the people that signed up, the professional people that signed up in their thousands for Ireland's call, and only 300 of them or wherever engaged with. So they're there. We have them. Is it a preserve or a certain preserves of people that will keep this? And so I have no faith in the figures that the Taoiseach gave the other night for the June figures. Not a hope at the rate we're going. Not a hope if we had the vaccines. Not a hope when you can't find doctors, surgeons in care. You can't find them here in Dublin 10, as Deputy Smith said. And no explanation. You ring up and no one will give you an answer. When they'll be, where are they, would they come the next, whatever. We're just dysfunctional in the extremes, pathetic. And I have, as I said, very, very serious issues about it. And I'm totally, not in favour of this half-baked piece of legislation, We did it here some time ago on a forestry bill. I want to equate the two issues, but I voted against it because I said it was useless, the bill, and it has proved to be useless. And many of my colleagues voted for it, said half a bill is better than none. This is not even half a bill. It's not coordinated, it's not thought out, and it's not proper. And why is the Minister for Health, I'm told, dealing with it? I was told that he answered in Clare Byrne saying that he has it because he was given it. So he's a good mind in the class, he'll take his punishment, take his lessons, and you do them. He was given it. So why isn't the Minister, why isn't Justice dealing with these issues here? The Minister just could be asked about the Gardaí. Have they been briefed on this? Have they been schooled and educated and rolled out and trained? They have enough to do without to be looking after quarantine and hotels and everything else. And that few of them there. So I have huge issues with it. I again won't go on for too long more because I could go into all the different people that have been affected. But I will ask that why we can have an election, for instance, in a day. Every pool and boat in the country for a long day from 7 in the morning till maybe 10 at night. And we can have 2 officials in most places in the country per booth, and they can be counted in a couple of days after. And that's for 4 million people. Maybe only half of them vote. But we can do it in one day. And it's going to take us maybe 5 years, by the looks of things, to roll out a vaccination. Surely we have that template. And I want to just compliment a certain businessman in Tipperary who came to me with that idea yesterday morning. He said, how come you can, William O'Halloran, how can you have an election in a day? Which we can, with organisation and coordination, and have it has stood the test of time well, and albeit the fiasco with the voting machines. But we can have it, and we're going to go on forever. The people are sick, sore and tired of George Lee and Fergal Bowers. Their own channels they should have. I said it to former Deputy Lee, he found his vocation now to strike fear into every elderly person in the country. Remember these people who are at home and can't leave and watching this, many only have that channel. But we need some light entertainment. The people that want to give that are not allowed. They can't go to worship. It's one of the only countries in the world when we're level 3 that we couldn't go to public worship. Yet we can see some religious people can flood into buildings and flood out and no mark in it. And the same with certain funerals. So thousands of people, after hundreds of people, probably 500 at a funeral yesterday in East Limerick. Shocking. With no mass, no nothing. And other people didn't have...
Wandering a bit, Deputy?
Yes, I am. I'm sorry, this is factual. And it's necessary. I'm not dog whistling. I'm telling the truth of it, that people are relaying to me. They're hugely frustrated they can't go to their services of any denomination. And it seems other people can do it tonight. And that's the basic nutshell of it. And the government haven't dealt with it, won't deal with it, and this piece of legislation can't deal with it because it's not foolproof, it's not thought-proof. Amendments won't be accepted, obviously, because we won't get to them. Would they be accepted anyway? Some have been ruled out of order, as others have said. So I'm not dog whistling. I'm telling the facts of what they are, that the people of Ireland have suffered enough. From the cradle to the grave, they've suffered enough. With not being able to have company when they're in the maternity wards, giving birth, and not being able to grieve at a funeral as whether it's a normal death or whether it's a COVID death. It's shocking that only 10 people can go into a church or whatever, big families, everything. It's shocking. And they were willing to put their shoulder to the wheel as they did last spring and fought it gallantly. But they're fatigued, and the mixed messages come from ministers. And listen, this minister here, and I'll sit down after this. I remember in the Iran war, when they took to Iraq, and Cormac Killally used to come on every night telling us that we're winning the war, Saddam, and the bombs falling around them. Minister Donnelly was the very same in Clare Byrne. Cormac Killally, Cormac Donnelly, Cormac.